The Battlefield franchise is one of the most popular FPS series of all time. But what makes it so great? Well, the scale, the destruction, the immersion, but also the choices that you get to make as a player. Sometimes these choices lead to legendary victories, or sometimes embarrassing defeats. The sheer amount of options at our disposal is one of my all-time favorite things about the franchise, and frankly, it's one of the main things that keeps me coming back time after time. I love watching clips from creative players sharing their favorite ways to play the game. So let's talk about the 13 different types of Battlefield players. Look, we all start somewhere. And for new Battlefield players, that somewhere usually means running across an open field, just taking it all in without a care in the world. They don't yet have a clue just how many ways they could randomly die within the next few steps. Noobs are the Battlefield players who are still figuring out the very basic mechanics, learning how to aim their weapons, how to spot enemies on the field, and importantly, how to toggle on auto parachute in the settings. They don't yet get the concept about which parts of the map are off limits. They die constantly, sometimes in the funniest ways possible, like trying to blow up a tank only to find that grenade primed right next to their feet. And they have no idea that they're rapidly spending their team's respawn tickets, or wasting vehicles that take minutes to respawn, or really even what they're supposed to be doing on the battlefield. But as frustrating as they can be as teammates sometimes, noobs bring new life into the game. Every veteran player was a noob once upon a time, and given some much needed practice, many of these players will grow into some really solid teammates. When you hear the word pilot, if you're a normal, average, regular human being, you probably think of something like this. But if you're a Battlefield player, the word pilot has a whole different meaning to it. This type of player comes in two different flavors. Just one good chopper pilot can rack up such a stupid amount of kills that they can practically win entire games just by themselves. The smart ones even use things like mountains and terrain timed with strategic flares and stealth to be almost unkillable in the skies. And if they have a couple buddies repairing them while they're sitting in the side seats, well, good luck, you are just never going to take them down. They can be an outright nuisance on the battlefield, and if they piss off enough players, they can convert an entire team into engineers with anti-air missiles just waiting to knock them out of the skies. And just when you thought you've seen it all as far as annoying pilots go, this guy shows up. Jet pilots are maybe the natural predator of the chopper pilot, and they can be equally devastating to ground troops. A good jet pilot can single-handedly establish total vehicle dominance for their team, clearing both the sky and the land of any armored threats. As soon as they sense any kind of danger, they can just drop some flares and pop the afterburners and get right out of there in a second. The skill ceiling for jets is absolutely insane to me, and I begrudgingly admire players like Silk who've had the commitment to keep getting better and better at piloting these jets and dominating the battlefield maps. With how easy it is to crash a jet, it really is a high-risk, high-reward playstyle for those like myself who haven't quite mastered the skies yet. To me, it feels like these pilots are on a whole different playing field, or I guess playing altitude. The pilot clips are insane, I get it, and it might inspire you to be great at them too someday. Maybe you've been shot down by a jet or a helicopter just one too many times. You check the scoreboard and oh my god, he has 100 kills already? That's it, I'm gonna get in a helicopter now and show them how it's done. Well, I guess some of us still need to learn parallel parking before we get our driver's license. The vehicle waster type of Battlefield player really is an evolution of the noob who has been killed just one too many times by a skilled pilot and decided it's their time to take over the sky. They hop in a vehicle and seconds later find themselves crashing right back into the spawn screen. Doesn't matter if it's a jet, chopper, or even a tank. They have a habit of wasting the vehicle that could have turned the tide in a fight. At least most of these guys have good intentions, they just simply fall short of their goal. The worst offenders actually grab a jet or a chopper on purpose just to bail seconds later into the flight because they're too lazy to run across the map from the spawn zone. Or maybe they just wanted to fly all the way up to some tower for a good sniper vantage point. Either way, it's a wasted vehicle that the team really could have used. So until you get good enough to fly and keep that vehicle up in the air for a while, you might want to stick to bot games until you learn the ropes. Otherwise, your dreams of being a good pilot, much like your vehicle, will go up in flames. And you'll probably also get some second-degree burn from your teammates' very valid complaints in the chat. I have a confession to make. This next type of Battlefield player has me written all over it. Even with the best intentions of pushing objectives with my squad, at some point in the match after I get sniped one too many times from the outskirts, I too will pick up a sniper rifle. Now, this isn't all bad. Some sniper players will actually get up in the action and use their aim to take out vehicle pilots while using their recon gadgets to capture an objective. But most sniper rifle enjoyers in Battlefield can instead be observed in their natural habitat. Truly a sight to behold. They will sit behind a rock, or perched up on a ledge, or atop a tower all game long just to keep trying to land those long-range sniper kills. I mean, really, who can blame them? The headshot sound these days is just so satisfying. And if you're at least decent with your aim, you're probably racking up some kills. But when your whole team looks a bit like this, and you're losing badly on the first point in breakthrough, I can understand the frustration from teammates who would rather you just play the objective. Still, there's not much more satisfying in Battlefield than landing a sniper shot from thousands of meters away. The opposite of those snipers pitching a tent in the back of the map are those who like to PTFO, play the f***ing objective. And with the good squad, this is arguably the most fun and effective way to play Battlefield, at least if you want to win. A true PTFO player will tell you it doesn't matter how many kills you have on the scoreboard if your team is losing the game. You'll see this kind of player tossing down smokes to cover their advance on the way to the objective that needs to be pushed. They'll fearlessly hold down a zone right next to a bomb and rush, knowing that they're about to get blown up, but it doesn't matter because they just want to win. These are the professional esports wannabe squads ready to dominate the lobby, and you'll always see them up at the top of the leaderboard, or at least die trying to get there. When you're playing with them on your team, it's basically a free win. And when you're playing against them, well, you better have a good team or the match won't last too long. Of course, any PTFO squad isn't complete without maybe the most valuable type of player in Battlefield, the medic. A small army of fearless medics can make a breakthrough point almost impossible to capture. If you're knocked down, a god tier medic will pop a smoke on your body, charge up those paddles, and have you back on your feet at full health before the enemy even has a chance to reload. For the medic, watching your team's tickets quickly dwindling feels as bad as watching the stock market crash and losing your entire 401k. And if you really want to piss one off, all you have to do is choose the option to bleed out right as they're running up to you for the revive. Of course, not all medics are created equally. Some are the clear MVP candidate for any team, while others care just a bit too much about racking up those revives and points on the scoreboard. It doesn't matter if you're down right in front of a tank, they're gonna pick you right back up so you get to experience that death animation 2 times in a row. Actions speak louder than words, I think we can all agree on that. But unfortunately, some Battlefield players didn't get the memo. So when they're losing, instead of reaching for their best loadout, they reach, well, for their keyboard to light up the chat box. 10 seconds later, everyone's greeted with a whole raging PhD thesis on exactly why they're losing. It's totally everyone else's fault, and for sure not the guy who's typing away instead of shooting or capturing an objective. Whether someone on the enemy team is clearly hacking, or our guy is stealing the jet before I can hop in and is clearly ruining the game, or our team's dumb for capturing objectives in the wrong order, someone else is always to blame. Sometimes they're funny, other times they're unbearable, but they're always loud. And they often devolve into trolling their team out of pure frustration. Maybe they have a future as a product reviewer on Amazon, but in a first-person shooter, ranting on the keyboard does not make for a good defensive strategy and will probably lead to a defeat. Our next type of player does not believe in the possibility of a long-range relationship. That sort of stuff is not for them. They want to be up close, right by your side, ideally with a shotgun pointed right at your face. An SMG can work just fine too. It's really anything to avoid the longer ranges and make sure they're getting kills as quickly as possible. If this was Call of Duty, they'd be going for the quad feed all game long. But in Battlefield, it looks more like setting up for the most delicious flank of their life to end up behind the entire enemy team with over 100 bullets. They're ready to swap from target to target in the blink of an eye and post their clip to Reddit. Even when they're not playing Battlefield, they're probably grinding away at their favorite aim trainer hoping to set a new PR. Those tiny red balls are their arch nemesis after all. Their life's work is to top the leaderboard with the most kills in the lobby, one day hoping to set the new world record kill total. Subtlety is not in this player's vocabulary. They're reckless, sometimes frustrating as teammates, and occasionally brilliant. Battlefield games have a lot of fun gadgets, and some players enjoy this huge collection of toys at their disposal more than others. The gadgeteer feels that guns are a bit too old-fashioned. How about we just use an airburst grenade launcher which doesn't even need to be aimed much at all and instead can kill opponents around walls? Or maybe they employ the classic run through smoke and yeet C4 and pray type of playstyle. Or perhaps they're the drone pilot who refuses to engage in a fight the entire game and would rather just watch the battle and spot enemies all day long from 10,000 feet above sea level. Then there's the recon player who can't hit a sniper shot to save their life, but they know the exact perfect ninja location to drop their tug system to highlight every nearby enemy in the sector. And then afterwards, you can bet that they're perfectly content sitting on top of a mountain laser painting every vehicle on the map for the next hour. Or maybe we're talking about the engineer who can't hit the broadside of a barn with their SMG, but they're somehow a savant when it comes to wire-guided missile launchers. Or maybe it's the assault player who spent entirely too much time studying Newton's laws of motion just to perfect their trajectory with the underbarrel grenade launcher. Really, this entry represents all of the players who have found ingenious ways to use their gadgets throughout the years. They might not be the most mechanically gifted players on the field, but a perfectly placed AT mine quad kill gives them just as much joy as the SMG god topping the scoreboard with over 100 kills. The demolitionist has one singular goal in mind: utter map destruction. They could hardly sleep at night when they first saw the BF4 trailer showing the tower crashing down on Siege of Shanghai. They live by a simple rule: if a building can come down, it must come down. When they hop in a tank, capturing objectives is a happy accident. The true mission is to unload tank shells into the side of every building on the map until it's as flat as a pancake. Their golden age was learning that you could take down a bridge in Battlefield 2 and completely stop the enemy in their tracks. They're the anarchists of Battlefield, testing the structural integrity of every building's foundation just to see if it's possible to topple them. Explosives are their answer to everything. There's a structure in the way, well, blow it up. Tanks are rolling in? Blow them up. Teammates standing too close? Well, accidents happen. They're the action movie heroes who think that every scenario is solved with a little bit more C4. And you know what? In Battlefield, they're not entirely wrong. Next up, we have a sort of player with a very peculiar music taste. They don't like Mozart or Beethoven. No, instead their favorite composer is known as LCMG, and the music they like sounds a bit more like this. You hear that? That's the telltale sign of an LMG enjoyer. In their mind, for every kill you need bullets, so obviously the best way to play is to pick the gun with the most capacity. You could say that's a bulletproof plan.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
You'll find them prone laying in smoke on Operation Locker with 200 bullets and a dream. Even in Battlefield games with an open weapon choice, these players run the support class. No, they're not really the sharing is caring kind of player who's going to take care of their squad mates. Instead, the only thing they want to share is some lead with their opponents. And to do so most effectively, they need that unlimited ammo. By the time they're done, the team has most likely moved on far away to other objectives, but no worries, there's always another ledge to set that bipod up on and keep the music going. As they say, after all, the show must go on. What happens when you keep getting destroyed by the same chopper over and over and over again? You may give the developers some caps lock infused feedback, which they're 100% guaranteed to listen to, or you could become this kind of player, the no vehicles allowed guy. So actually, let's play a little game. How many explosives does this player have in their loadout? Think about it, I'll give you a second. The correct answer is yes. Not only do they have pockets full of rockets, they're also exceptionally good at delivering them where it hurts the most. They know physics like the back of their hand, and according to their calculations, the trajectory should intersect right here. Frankly, as a mostly infantry-focused player, good anti-armor players are a godsend for my team. These guys will customize their entire loadout with launchers and mines and anti-tank grenades just to rid the field of vehicles, and I'm all for it. I paid for a first-person shooter game, not a flight simulator, so please do whatever it takes to keep these choppers out of the sky. I saved my favorite for last. There's a special type of Battlefield player who has a singular goal in life: to go viral with their most epic only in Battlefield moment. Their life was changed forever when they saw the famous rendezvous back in BF3 and realized their life now had a purpose. They may have had aspirations of someday being a famous Twitch streamer, but for now, they're just trying to figure out how to use C4 to jump their tank on top of a skyscraper. Whether they're using a jet as a personal sniping platform and then safely returning to base after landing the headshot and jumping back in the cockpit, or using C4 to hop their tank way up into the air and shoot down an enemy jet, these players are willing to push the sandbox to the limit to pull off the impossible. Even if that means flinging themselves through the air faster than a speeding bullet just to pull off an epic phantom bow headshot. These are some of my favorite types of gaming clips ever created, and I can't wait to see what these players cook up in Battlefield 6. So which type of player are you? Or maybe more importantly, which one drives you the most crazy? Drop it in the comments. If you had fun with this little breakdown, be sure to subscribe for more Battlefield content, and up next, check out my video where I ranked every single Battlefield game into a tier list.